All right, thank you guys. Welcome to our MLB video here today for Thursday, April 15th. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. Now guys, we are once again coming fresh off our third straight winning day on my Patreon website. That's going to put us at 2-0 in our last couple of board member tier package picks on that Patreon page. We're also 6-3 in our last 9 board member tier package picks in that very same category. We currently have over 1,325 members who are signed up and active on that page. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, a link for that site is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. With that, guys, oops, we got NBA queued up here. With that, guys, we're going to start off with the Diamondbacks versus the Nationals, 7:05 Eastern first pitch in the Capitol. The Washington Nationals are minus $1.70, totals 8.5, juice to the under. Arizona's plus $1.45 on the money line. They're also minus $1.30, catching the 1.5 on the run line. Merrill Kelly for the D-backs, Patrick Corbin for the Nationals. Now, Corbin is 0-1 with a 12.46 ERA and a 2.08 whip, and this is all in just 4 1/3 innings of work. The Nationals have lost 6 out of their last 8 ball games, and they're really struggling at the plate thus far. They're in the bottom 3 in scoring, bottom 5 in offensive walks at the plate. Washington scoring just 3.4 runs per contest. They're taking on an Arizona club who's certainly been able to get runners on base despite their record. They're in the top 5 in offensive walks at the plate, and they're averaging nearly 9 hits a game. Now, Tim LeCastro's got himself 11 hits thus far in the season, along with 14 total bases. Meanwhile, Eduardo Escobar's hit 4 home runs and batted in 8. Now, total-wise, 5 out of Arizona's last 6 did get over the total of 8.5 runs. They also saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Washington get over the line as well. I'm going to lean toward the Arizona Diamondbacks plus 1.5 and the over 8.5 runs. Next contest, Rangers, Rays, 7:10 Eastern start time. The Tampa Bay Rays are minus $1.85, numbers 8 flat. Rich Hill for the Rays, Jordan Lyles for Texas. Now Lyles is 1-0 with a 1.30 whip and 9 strikeouts through just 10 innings of work. The Rangers are on a 2-game winning streak with both of those victories coming against Tampa. They actually held the Rays to just 4 total runs in their last 2 games against them. The Rangers are also playing .500 baseball on the road, and they successfully cashed in on the run line in 4 out of their last 6 away games. Texas is currently in the top 10 in road scoring, top 10 in road hits. Now they're taking on a Tampa Bay squad who's lost 7 out of their last 10 ball games. And once again, they're one of the league leaders in strikeouts at the plate. They led the majors last year in strikeouts for the entire season. Once again, no different this year. Like I said, one of the league leaders in strikeouts at the plate. The Rays are actually striking out nearly 11 times a game at the Trop, and they're also averaging just 3.8 runs per contest there. Pitcher Rich Hill's got 10 innings under his belt, and he currently has a 7.20 ERA. When it comes to the total in this one, Tampa's 8-4 to the over for the entire season. Texas saw 4 out of their last 6 road games get over the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Texas Rangers plus 1.5 and the over 8 runs. Next ball game, it is going to be Blue Jays versus the Royals, 8:10 p.m. East. Now, this game's currently off the board. We do have at least one confirmed pitcher, and that's going to be Jake Junis on the bump for Kansas City. Looks like it's going to be a bullpen session here for Toronto, although some sites do have Tanner Roark listed as the starter. Now, as good as Toronto has looked in certain spots this year, they've looked equally as bad in others. The Blue Jays are currently having some difficulty scoring on the road. They're in the bottom 5 in offensive walks on the road, bottom 10 in road scoring. Now, the Blue Jays are averaging just 3.3 runs per contest when they travel. They're taking on a Royals team who's on a 2-game winning streak, 3-1 straight up in their last 4. Now, Kansas City gave up just 6 total runs in their last 3 victories, and they've got Jake Junis on the bump for him here this evening. Junis has yet to give up an earned run in 7 innings of work. He struck out 9 already, and he's got a whip of just .71. The Kansas City Royals have won 4 of 6 at Kauffman Stadium, and they've actually been ripping the cover off the ball at home. They currently rank in the top 3 in home scoring, and they're also averaging double-digit home hits a game. Now, Whit Merrifield is batting .375 with 3 homers and 11 RBI. Another thing to add here about Merrifield, he's got an OPS of 1.041. Meanwhile, Sally Perez is batting .333 himself, along with 3 homers and a 1.036 OPS himself. I'm going to lean toward the Kansas City Royals winning this one outright for some money line cash. Next ball game, it is going to be Tigers versus the A's, 9:40 p.m. Eastern first pitch. Now, the Oakland A's are -170, pretty heavily favored here. Total's 8.5. Sean Manaea for the A's, Tarek Skubal for Detroit. Now, the Tigers are coming fresh off a 3-game sweep of the Houston Astros. They actually held Houston to just 8 total runs in that 3-game series at Minute Maid Park. The Tigers are surprisingly playing .500 baseball right now, and they're led by Heimer Candelario, who's batting .326 with 5 extra base hits and 22 total bases. Meanwhile, Wilson Ramos is tied for the league lead in homers with 6 of them. Ramos is also in the top 10 in the majors in OPS. He's got an OPS of 1.156. Now, they're taking on an Athletics team who, in my opinion, just simply isn't playing good enough at home to be laying $1.70 here. They've lost 6 of 7 on their home field, and they failed to cash in on the run line 6 times during that span. Oakland's dead last in the league in home scoring. They're also in the bottom 3 in home hits. The A's are averaging just 2.4 runs per contest as the official home team. Sean Manaea also comes into this contest with an 0-1 record and a .506 ERA. Now, the left-hander also has a 1.50 whip through under 11 innings of work. Now, total-wise, both teams really haven't been beacons of offensive light, shallow in terms of offensive production. And as a matter of fact, Detroit's gone 7-5 to the under for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward the Detroit Tigers +1.5 and the under 8.5 runs. And with that, guys, we're going to dive into our next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Rockies versus the Dodgers, 10:10 Eastern start time. The LA Dodgers are -270, total 7.5 flat. Urias for the Dodgers, Gomer for Colorado. Now, Austin Gomer's 0-2 with 11 walks in just over 9 innings pitched. The Rockies are currently on a 5-game losing streak, and they scored just 6 total runs during that stretch. In addition to being just 3-9 overall for this season, the Rockies are still waiting on their first road victory this year. They were 0-5 straight up as the away team, and they cashed in on the run line just 1 time during that span. Colorado's dead last in road scoring, and they strike out nearly 11 times when they travel. More specifically, as the away team, Colorado's averaging just 1.2 runs a game. They're taking on a dominant Dodger team who's 10-2 straight up overall for the season, and they've yet to lose a game at Dodger Stadium. LA's also cashed in on the run line in 4 out of their 5 home games. They lead the majors in fewest runs allowed at home. They also lead the bigs in fewest walks allowed at home as well. Julio Urias is 2-0 with a .284 ERA and a 1.03 whip. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, LA's 4-1 to the under as the official home team. They're also 8-4 to the under overall for the season. Meanwhile, Arizona's 5 road games this year all stayed under the line themselves. They're officially 75% to the under overall for the year. I'm going to lean toward the LA Dodgers -1.5 and the under 7.5 runs. And with that, guys, now is the time for our quick pick recap powered to you by my Patreon website. I like Arizona +1.5 over 8.5. Texas plus 1.5 over 8 runs. Kansas City getting the job done on the money line. Detroit plus 1.5 under 8.5 runs. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 2-0 in our last 2 board member tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also 6-3 in our last 9 board member tier package picks in that very same category. I'm going to lean toward the LA Dodgers minus 1.5 and the under 7.5 runs. And that, guys, that is going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys decide to get a package here today on my Patreon website, just keep in mind Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of April. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, happy Thursday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.